Hello, my name is Laura. I'm 18 years old, and as you may have noticed, my hand is bigger than my face. A lot of people don't really know where to start when they tell these stories, but I know exactly where I'm going to start. It's the day that I started university, 25th of September 2010. At the time, I was having the usual, I'm just about to start uni worries, like student finance wasn't sorted, they hadn't notified me that my grant was going to come through. I had so much packing to do. I had to go through the turmoil of saying goodbye to all my friends, had loads of leaving parties. Like, had the worries about living independently, am I going to be able to do my own washing, cooking, all that stuff. You know, the standard stuff. And obviously when you're going to uni it's like a new stage in your life and you don't really know what's going to happen. But what happened to me, I never would have expected. I mean, I sort of had worries thinking maybe I would leave because I wasn't enjoying the course or I didn't have any friends or I just didn't like being away from home. But getting cancer, no, just never thought that would have happened. Surprisingly, being 18, that's not the kind of thing that you think would happen to you. So yeah, when I started uni I had a cough. It was just a mild cough, but it was kind of tickly, and I blamed it on the ceiling paint that was newly applied in my living room. But when I got to uni, it was still there, the cough, and it was sort of getting lower into my chest. But again, I ignored it because I thought it might have been freshers' flu or something like that. I mean, you're living in halls of residence, there's disease everywhere. But then a few weeks later, I started getting really out of breath walking up and down the stairs. But before I came to uni, I used to be a dancer, and I used to be quite fit, as in, not fit as in. And I thought, well, okay, well, I haven't really done any exercise because all I did was study or go out and drink and not really do any exercise at all. So maybe I was just getting on fit. That might have explained the out of breathness. But then the night sweats started. Drenching night sweats. Like, literally. Basically, all my symptoms I blamed on being a student because I thought I'm living in halls, so I wasn't paying bills. And I thought, okay, I'll keep my heating on all night so I can wake up in the morning and be nice and toasty, ready for my lectures. So I thought, okay, my room is probably overheated. So I turned the heating off, and for the next month, every night, wake up covered in sweat. My mattress was becoming more and more like a wet sponge. And if I lay in it, it was like, it wasn't like that. It probably is now though, for whoever's living there. Then I started getting a weird like pain here. It was like a stitch, but it kind of felt bruised. So at that point I thought, okay, I might as well go to the GP because I'm feeling really tired, a bit like under the weather. I thought maybe it was just because my blood pressure was low, because it always has been quite low. So when I got to the GP, they had a do-it-yourself blood pressure machine, and I put my arm in, and the blood pressure came out as alright. So I was going to go home and think, oh, it doesn't matter, but I thought, well, I've made an appointment, I might as well stay. So went in, and I told the nurse what was going on, and she said that I probably have a chest infection because of the cough and stuff. So she was about to prescribe me antibiotics, and then I said, oh yeah, but I've got a weird pain here. So she just casually got her stethoscope, had a listen, and her face just dropped. She was like, oh, I'm gonna go get the doctor. So she went. Mr. Doctor Man came in, did the same. And then he just looked up at me and he was like, there's no air in your left lung. And I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. How could that have happened? And he thought I'd suffered from a pneumothorax or a collapsed lung, or like I had just had a really, really bad infection, so it was like blocking the airways. So he sent me to A&E, he paid for my taxi. I was there for about 8 hours because it wasn't a severe emergency really, because I was fine, I was just a bit out of breath. When I eventually got seen, I'd had a chest x-ray, and this woman put a thermometer in my mouth to check my temperature, obviously. And then I was lying on this bed and the doctor came in and said, do you want to have a look at your x-ray? I was like, yeah, right. So I followed him. My mouth just dropped. The thermometer fell to the floor. When I saw the x-ray, this whole side of my chest was white. It was, oh God, it was so weird. And I said, like, well, I was like, what? How? And he said, you probably just have a really bad chest infection, maybe pneumonia, and it's just blocked the airways, like the GP thought it might have been. 2 days later, I was asked to come in for a bronchoscopy, where they stick a camera on a 50cm tube down your throat. Ugh, oh my God, it was horrible. Like, I mean, you can probably imagine how that feels. It's not nice. And but I did get to watch it on the screen. It was like they went into the right lung first, and then they took it out, and I was like, oh, that's what my lungs look like. Took it out, went into here before I had a chance to see like the linings of my bronchi and all that, this white foam just went all over the camera. And it was like I just snorted a whole bottle of Radox or something. It just looked like bubble bath, but it was all over the place, and it was quite scary. The doctor said that that's what mucus looks like. Like, everyone gets it when they have infections to, well, get rid of bacteria and dirt that you inhale, but it was a lot of mucus in one lung. And so a week later I had a CT scan, and then the weekend after that my friend came down to Brighton. I was at university in Brighton. Well, I was at Sussex Uni, but people don't know where Sussex is, so I say Brighton, doing biomedical science. My friend came down to visit because she knew I'd been unwell, so she came down to cheer me up, and we had a really good weekend. And on the Monday that she was due to go home, the hospital had phoned me. I had loads of missed calls on my phone because my phone was off overnight, and I phoned them up and I was like, hey, what's up? And they said, can you come in today instead? Because I had an appointment for 2 weeks later, but they were like, no, come in today, we want to talk to you today. I was like, all right. So I took my friend with me, sat down in this little office, and a woman came in and she said, hi, I'm a Macmillan nurse. And it was like, oh, okay, I think you're in the wrong place, because I know what Macmillan is a charity for, and that's not what I'm here for, so get out. I didn't say that, but yeah. So she stayed there, and then the doctor came in and said, Laura, you have a very, very large mass in your lung, and we think you might have lymphoma. It was also a matter of fact, the way they said it, and I think that's why I reacted to how I did, because I was like, it's just the last thing I expected. I thought, okay, maybe I have pneumonia or some kind of weird infection that I don't know about, but not cancer. Like, that didn't even cross my mind. Even though when I look back on it now, I used to type in night sweats and stuff into Google, and the first thing that came up would always be cancer. I had another CT scan on that day, and then the next day I had a biopsy, a needle biopsy. And then a few days later after that they rang me and they said that the biopsy had failed and it was inconclusive. So at that point I sort of thought, oh my god, well if it's inconclusive then it's not cancer, or it is, but it might not be. And I was quite, I don't know how I really felt. I was kind of, the uncertainty is worse than knowing, but I was trying to keep positive, but then at the same time I don't think a doctor would say they were pretty sure it was lymphoma if they didn't think it probably was. So I had to go to Guy's Hospital in London to have an open biopsy, hence the cheeky scar here. And on Christmas Eve 2010, went into hospital and I got diagnosed with stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And obviously it was Christmas, so that was a bit rubbish. And then diagnosis day, information overload, and I had to have a bone marrow aspiration, another CT scan. I was like, can I just go home? I have presents to wrap, I have a tree to decorate, just let me go home. And that was awful. And then on Christmas Day, I started my first course of steroids, because they were going to start the chemo then, but they were like, well no, it's Christmas. You should at least have Christmas to be happy. And so they put me on steroids just temporarily, and I was so hyper on Christmas Day. Like, I could feel the difference immediately. I could run up the stairs, I wasn't getting out of breath. Like the tumour, I could feel that it had shrunk. Because but when they showed me the CT scan on Christmas Eve, and in fact I have a picture of it now, here you go. See that big white thing? Size of a rugby ball. I was like, they think I've had it for about a year. So now whenever I look at photos from a year ago, I think, wow, I had cancer at that point. And I had no idea, and neither did anyone else. It was pretty, blah. But then I had to go back into hospital on Boxing Day to have a blood test, which was fine. And then on the 29th of December I started my first round of ABVD chemotherapy. And at New Year's I just felt too unwell to go out, so all my friends came to me, which was really, really nice. I actually went back to uni on the 10th of January. Because I thought, I don't want to let this ruin my life. Like, I worked so hard to get into uni. So I went back, I got treated in a children's hospital in Brighton, which was nice, because they were all really happy and there was hardly anyone there, so I got seen straight away. Like, when I went in for chemo I was only there for about 3 hours, because I went in as an outpatient. And I had my PICC line put in, my peripherally inserted central catheter. And yeah, but uni, it was so hard going there with cancer, because the course I'm doing, biomedical science, the first lecture I had when I went back was all about cancer, and they had a slide with lymphoma cells, like microscope slides, and we were playing spot the cancer cell, and I was thinking that could easily be my sample from my tumour. And there were pictures of CT scans, and then they had like graphs of death and survival rates, and I just couldn't handle it. And obviously chemo makes you feel unwell for about like 4 or 5 days afterwards. So I sleep basically, I feel sick. So I was missing lectures, I wasn't doing any work, I didn't go to any of my labs really, and so I just thought 4 weeks later I just packed it in, came home. I'm being treated in London now, which is where I live, and I've had 8 chemos now out of the 12 that hopefully I should be having, as in hopefully I won't have any more. But I had a CT scan on Wednesday, so hopefully the little thing has shrunk a little bit. Well, a lot. I can feel that it has. I don't feel cancerous anymore, if that makes sense. I just feel yucky from the chemo, but most people say that. Like, it's not the cancer that makes you feel rubbish, it's the chemo itself. So, yeah, hopefully 4 more chemos to go. Here's me on a tree, and all my other friends. We all wrote our names. This was about 6 years ago, I think. So, basically, cancer is rubbish, and I'm glad that I have the friends I have right now, because they've all been really supportive. It kind of sucks because lots of them are at uni, like I was meant to be, so I only get to see them in the holidays when they come back. But, you know, that's life. And I'm getting through it. I'm in a positive mood today. I think it's the sunshine. Come on, look at that sun. I feel like Super Nanny coming down to your level. I like to personify inanimate objects. On Christmas Eve, I decided that my tumour, my lymphoma tumour, Mrs. Rugby Ball, was going to be called Mary. And I know you might think, but the other miraculous growth that was discovered around Christmas time is Jesus, but I really don't want to call my tumour after the Son of God, because that's a bit weird, because people believe that Jesus was put on earth for good, and I'm pretty sure this wasn't put here for good things. Although, I do like to think that I believe everything happens for a reason, and I think that everything bad leads to something good eventually, and I can already see that. I've met so many amazing people through the Teenage Cancer Trust and Teens Unite, Jimmy Teens, and I feel like a much happier person. On the days where I feel healthy, I always make sure I do things, like really good things. I've sort of been to well-being days, concerts, just going out in the sun, seeing my friends, and just, I try as hard as I can to just be as normal as I can. I probably won't ever go back to uni to finish biomedical science, because the thought of studying cancer now, even though I used to find it really interesting, just now, no, I couldn't do that. But I don't know, I'll find a new path in life, which is quite exciting. It's scary, because I'm thinking when I finish treatment in June, I don't know what I'm going to be doing after that. But it's exciting, I'm only 18, I can find something else to do. Really? Yeah.